just before we got on here, I was catching a bit of the game, and there actually has been, I'm sure, or you guys can tell me if you guys have heard about the backlash about, when it's NBA final season, people always get very nostalgic, or whenever it's any kind of like big event, people will get nostalgic and post like, oh man, like, yes, like for example, in this case, it's currently the NBA finals, but like, remember when they had the NBA finals patches on their jerseys, when they had the Larry O'Brien patches on their jerseys, when they had the Larry O'Brien trophy on the hardwood floor? Like, people have been showing the courts and how they used to show a trophy on the court, and how now those spaces are taken up by sponsorships. YouTube TV has been smack in the middle of just all things NBA Finals as of recent. So sorry about that. But yeah, man, we're currently in the midst of Game 2, and there was an announcement that ESPN would be doing like this digital Larry O'Brien trophy on the court to make up for that, I guess, nostalgia that people are really reminiscing on. And I will say, anyone who has had a chance to tune in, anyone who has a chance to see, I highly encourage you to, if you haven't seen it yet, I highly encourage you to do so. Those who have seen it, I'm not sure if people will agree with me, but I will say it looks absolutely disgusting. I think it's up in the face to to what the fans are pleading for. Respect to ESPN for trying to make up for the NBA's lack of, I guess, attention / like action towards what the fans are calling for. But to me, it's honestly, it does not look good. It looks very forced. It looks weird. It looks very weird, and it's not what the fans were expecting. So I'm sure Twitter is going to be going crazy tonight if it hasn't done so already in reaction to that Larry O'Brien on the court. So I just want to put that out there. I don't know if Alexi or Dre, if you guys have anything to say about that. I know that's very out of nowhere, but it's just something I felt like necessary to speak on.
Yeah, I just went and saw the foo-foo Larry O'Brien on the court. What are they doing, bro? What are they doing? I can respect it, like you said, I can respect the effort, or at least the thought behind it, but I feel like if you're going to commit to going full commercial, full like sponsor, full, let's just forsake the tradition and go for the money, get your bag, but don't try to go halfway. Don't try to do this halfway thing. Just admit, you just care about the money. You don't care about the Larry O'Brien patches. You don't care about like the kind of atmosphere around the finals and what that means for fans. We just want to get out of a little bag. We'll play YouTube TV for all the day. You can just do that. Say all of that's in the past. If you want to watch those games, go watch those games. That's in the past. I would be fine. I respect that more than doing this, which is like you're kind of you're half acknowledging that like, oh yeah, we kind of did give up on that kind of thing. And we're not willing to really commit to doing it again because we actually care more about the money. So we'll just throw a little something on there for you, like that to me, that's just even more disrespectful at this point. I think. I feel like those things, maybe to them it felt small, but I think the atmosphere of the finals, like the kind of mystique around it, I think that was always super important. I think even looking back and watching old clips of like finals games or just moments, seeing that on the court or seeing that on the jerseys always gave it this extra feel of like you could feel the importance of the moment, the importance of the game. But I feel like these days you tune into the finals and it just looks like it could just be any other game, which is, I feel like, especially for a non-fan, like if it's just a random person tuning in and just like say it's their first NBA game ever, there's nothing really to really give them that feel, unless it happens to be like a super late game and it's close, a super close game and it's late, then maybe they get that feel. But I feel like visually, it's important to have something that gives that feel. So it's kind of a shame, but I doubt it. Maybe next year they'll bring back the patches on the jersey. At least that. But at least if you're not going to do the court, I understand you want your sponsorships on the court. I feel like at least a little patch on the jersey shouldn't be too much to ask for. Something.
I agree. I agree completely. I think more annoying too because like you've seen this grow in every sport where they're just trying to fit more and more sponsors into everything. Like I absolutely hate now how you have sponsors on like the sleeves of kits. You have it on literally the back under the number. Like it's getting to be too much, bro. Like I know y'all gotta make your money, but aren't y'all making enough already? Like you really need to plug in more sponsors there, and especially for something like the finals. I know, like, you know, for like a Champions League final, something like that. I love seeing like on the jersey, like little patch, little embroidery, you know, signifying the moment. Like that really highlights, yeah, this day, this time, this game is about to go crazy. And you know, it's such a little detail too. It's like to not do that or to not have a patch. It's like kind of just like laziness in a way, or like, do you even really care? Like, you know, most fans recognize how this stuff is helpful, or it like aids in the, you know, idea of like these finals or tournaments being so important. So it's disappointing to see.
Yeah. And even from a
Go ahead.
quickly, even from like a different angle, from the player perspective, I'm imagining like, and you say that you bring up with like the Champions League, and even like old NBA jerseys too. Like, say you're a player and you make the finals, or it's your first finals, or maybe it ends up being the only finals you go to in your career, or something like that. Like, say this, let's put it like this. I'll make you happy for a second. Say this is the only time Halliburton ever touches the NBA finals, and I know you'd love that, right? And then, but now, exactly. And now he can't go and take, like, obviously if you lose, you probably don't hang that up anymore. But say you're not gonna like this part. Say the Pacers go and win the finals, and he can't go and frame his jersey with the finals patch up in his house or whatever. He can still frame his finals jersey, sure, but like there's nothing separating that jersey from just a jersey he wore all season. But if it has that finals patch on it, that really goes back to that time. Like it makes a very specific moment in time that you kind of lose if it's just another jersey. If that makes sense. So I feel like from a player perspective as well, I feel like that was always beneficial to them. Like, that'd be cool. Like you got a signed finals patch, Kobe jersey or something. That's sick. Like if it's like obviously a Kobe jersey in general, whatever. But like if it's a Kobe jersey in the finals, like that's like it really captures lightning in a bottle that you can't just get with any other jersey. So I feel like from that perspective too, that's also missing.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I will also take the moment to actually give the MLB its flowers. I know they've been under some fire since they made a change in their the producer of their jerseys. But what I will say is that I think I have seen traditionally the MLB be very good when it comes to keeping that like elements of that, like, you know, making things collector's items and making it easier for fans to identify with dates and just like important moments. So like I will say, when a rookie makes their MLB debut, there's actually an MLB debut patch that they actually wear on their jersey. And I think something like that, very, very cool, very, very unique, very small detail. It's a very small patch on the sleeve. Does not take a lot of effort, but that within itself I think is very cool. And like as just a Yankee fan, I identify with like there's just different patches that I identify with, like the 2008 All-Star game that was held at the old Yankee Stadium the year it was demolished before the opening of the new Yankee Stadium. I will always see people wear their inauguration season jerseys or caps that are nod to what happened to be their championship year, but also the first year of the new stadium. And even in soccer, man, like the World Cup comes around, you see the World Cup patches, and I think those are very important. I think those stand out and make it very easy for fans to just like identify and just like covet these pieces. And I think that's what makes sports so cool, because they're a stamp in time that you can always think back on, and like they are kind of consistent in the sense that like, man, like wow, this was a jersey from like the 2010 World Cup, and that automatically brings you back to, okay, what was I doing in 2010, or who was I with, who was I rooting for, who was going crazy in that tournament. You know, it just like takes you back to just a lot of memories. And I think sports is that. Sports is not only the product on the TV, but like who are you watching it with? Who do you personally identify with? So I will say that there are professional leagues out there still, or professional sports leagues still doing it, but yes, the sponsorships have gotten out of hand. I will even say WWE has gone insane. I saw yo, Keandre, you'll laugh at this, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a table, like the breakaway tables that they used, with a Slim Jim logo on it recently, which was hilarious and kind of embarrassing. Insane, man. And the Prime sponsorships have gotten out of hand, and just like the ring in general now has sponsorships, which it's interesting because I used to identify sponsorships with like, oh, this is as someone who grew up watching like the Mexican soccer league, I considered sponsorships to be like, oh, that's just a poor team. That's just a team that is not as wealthy as like the big hitters. But now to see that everybody's just adopting that same strategy, it really does just like take away, I will say, takes away from just the aesthetic that like I think we were so used to loving. So, I think it's interesting that this conversation has bled into the other professional sports leagues, but it's consistent with all of sports, like Alexi said, so I think it's worth mentioning. But just a few things I was frustrated about. I don't know if you guys have anything else to say.
I mean, I agree. I was just saying before we started the pod, even like, Dre, you're rocking the Chelsea jersey with the no sponsor, and like, it's clean. It's much cleaner that way. I was talking about the AS Roma. They had the jerseys with SPQR on the front instead of a sponsor. Instead of now, it's like Riyadh season. Like, bro, why? You got some Middle Eastern sponsor for Italy's biggest city for their team? Like, it's just random. So it's the amount of sponsors, on kits and stadiums, on courts, but it's also the choice too. I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like sponsors back in the day made a bit more sense, or it visually aligned with the jerseys a lot more. Now it just feels like random combinations of designs and logos that don't match up. Maybe that's just the nostalgia in my head making me think that very well could be it. But yeah, most of these kids just aren't looking the same in soccer for me. So I sympathize with the NBA fans going through this.
Just a shout out. Yeah, just a shout out one, just because you mentioned like the compatibility. Ipswich from the Premier League, who actually just got relegated, tough, but last season, not my favorite looking sponsor, but their sponsor for the season on their kit was actually Ed Sheeran's tour, which was like, if you've seen Ed Sheeran's album covers, they have like the plus, the X, the minus, the divide, like that whole series he did. And I guess he did like a tour, like combining all those logos into like his one, I guess, math album tour. I don't know. I don't follow Ed Sheeran like that, but apparently he's from Ipswich, or at least that's his hometown or something like that. So he sponsored the team for their first season in the Premier League with his tour, and that was actually their sponsor for their jerseys. I don't know, I didn't love how it looked necessarily, but just like the story behind that, the actual relation, the connection between Ed Sheeran and the city, and I thought that was something cool, and that's something you don't really get that often now. Where it's like you said with the Riyadh season, who sponsors 80 different teams, whatever. Like, I'm pretty sure Atletico Madrid also has a Riyadh season on their kits, and like you said, Roma. So if they face each other in the Champions League, they'll say, you have two teams having the same sponsor, like for me, like that just doesn't hit, bro. It just doesn't hit. I feel like obviously not every big team is gonna have some personal sponsor. I think it only worked because it's Ipswich. It's a smaller team, obviously lesser budget. So Ed Sheeran, I mean, he has hella money. He probably can afford whatever, but he doesn't have to pay as much for that. But I think that's a cooler story behind the sponsor, especially if you're like an Ipswich fan and say you like Ed Sheeran. Okay, that's a cool combo. But no fans like I love Digit Wireless or something. I don't know. Like not to hate on them, but that's probably not even a real company. I just named some random. They sounds real. I ain't gonna lie.
does.
No one's gonna say like I love that sponsor. You know, you would love the look. Like I have a Samsung phone, and Chelsea back when they had the Samsung sponsors. Hey man, I was glazing. It looked good though. Like it looked good on the kid. It always fit, and it also was a brand I happen to like. These days I don't care. Stuff like that is cool. But, I don't know. We've kind of lost that in this game.
100%. It's devastating. I think Ipswich is a great example of what, in an ideal world, teams should really strive for. Of just a sponsor that fits with the story, fits with where you're based. One that comes to mind is it became really trendy for some reason on TikTok. All these pages talking about best soccer jerseys you can buy, and they picked this random small team in Greece called Athens Kalithea, which is sponsored by like the Athens Art Museum, and it's cool. Like it's a very simple logo, but it's a business that is based in your city. There's a historical tie, a cultural tie. It makes sense, and it looks fire. So we just need more of that, man. Too many gambling sponsors across the board in sports now. It's actually sad. I saw a stat for the Prem, which was like, it was ridiculous. I think like 13 teams had like gambling sponsors of some kind, or it might have been more than that, to be honest. But I don't know how people are getting the money in those companies, bro. These got to be fronts or something. That's another conversation. Okay, I'll just shut up now. All right.
I was looking
Hey man, he said it, not me, man.
Yeah, come after me if anything, man. I don't gamble. It's fine.
I don't get with it, but I do agree about the gambling sponsors. Seeing every other team have like something bad on their team, on their kit. They don't even look good. At least we're gonna do a gambling sponsor.
They don't even look good.
The logos aren't cool at all. It doesn't work. But the gambling companies have all the money, so I guess they're just gonna keep sponsoring everything.
commercials are out of control too, man. I'm sick and tired of the FanDuel. Speaking of, because we were just talking about the NBA Finals, the FanDuel Chuck GPT commercial. I just hate NBA commercials in general. They get so repetitive, but it's just all up in our face now, and I don't know. That's a whole nother conversation. Maybe we can table it for another day. Just like the how gambling is just at the forefront of sports. Yet we have recent examples of like Dante Porter, for example, who got banned for life in the NBA for dabbling into gambling. There's a few other people who've been placed under investigation. Terry Rozier, I know somebody who was investigated. Don't know what that turned out to be, but I think that's definitely a prevalent conversation to have, because it's